Hello and welcome to the Week 5 official between Arctic Foxes and Lowpander. This is going to be the maps featuring, I think, our Koth product and CP Gullywash, so it'll be quite interesting to see what kind of gimmicks we can see from each of these teams. Today I am zeFrosty, and joined with me today is Nuze. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, zeFrosty. Yeah, I'm Nuze. This is my first season casting, and let's see how we can get this one covered. A nice Scottish duo for the cast today.
I think it's the first of its kind. I don't think there's ever been two Scotsmen allowed.
The game's changing.
Yeah, the game is changing. I've noticed that actually. There's been a lot more Scottish talent up and coming, you know.
Yeah.
Is this the true thing to overthrow the AIDS Brits? Just getting all the Scottish in now?
Freedom and all.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of... actually, do you want to take a look at the stats, zeFrosty?
Yeah. I don't know if mine are actually going to work, but you never know.
Hopefully we can get them loaded and take a look at the matchups between some of these players. Are there any standout players for you, big names?
Well, the one I think that had the most impact last week on their map was Mookie, for sure. I think despite, I don't know, the amazing plays from the rest of his team, he was definitely one that was causing a lot of impact. He was getting the drops on the medic, and he was getting all the sort of crucial picks that were just stumping any aggression on, especially this Viaduct map, where they just completely rolled Lemmings last week, just due to that sort of off-classing ability that he has to just sort of pull out all these crazy plays. And we see in the pre-game they're just getting mid-air headshots. But yeah, I think he's the one to watch out for anyway. If he's allowed to sort of get in his comfort zone and just ring off headshots on this map, I think it's definitely going to be a lot harder for Arctic Foxes to get into the game as they would have initially thought.
Looking at these stats, comparing Mookie to his counterpart DD5F on Arctic Foxes, he is beating him on all three of the stats that we have, so that is damage per minute, kills per minute, and deaths per minute. And he's quite a bit ahead of him, the season averages. Otherwise, big numbers from both Pockets. Feeling and Ubers have both been playing really well this season. I think they both play quite a central role to their team. A lot of the fights are dictated by how their Pockets are fighting. Feeling with 317 DPM, Ubers with 360, and both of them quite low on the death, so strong pocketing. And the medics, Kisakala and Raptor, they both have a decent amount of Ubers per minute. I think Raptor stats might be slightly skewed from the amount of Vaccinator that they use. But I don't think... Actually, Kisakala's as well, because he runs full-time crits a lot of the time, and then Vaccinator quite often. I remember they used that a lot in their game against Champ GG, I think.
Yeah, they're definitely no strangers, both of these medics, to just bringing out all the weapons in their arsenal. I've noticed Kisakala likes to swap off to that crits, as you say, quite a lot, and he certainly does utilise it pretty well, just sort of popping off on Ubers, I believe. They try and sort of rapidly build those sort of buff banners that he's really sort of prone to bringing out, just to sort of get those extra buffs so that they can sort of force out the Uber, get a lot of damage with Ubers, and then they'll have like this second buff. So it's almost like having a second Uber just to sort of push. But I'm not sure if he'll be running it on King of the Hill. I'm not sure quite how effective it is, but definitely on 5CP they've been really favouring those banners.
I was watching Arctic Foxes were warming up against Champ GG today, and on their Viaduct game they were playing with quite a lot of Vaccinator. So I think they'll probably end up bringing that into this Viaduct. I think Viaduct will be really interesting to watch, because Arctic Foxes like to employ things like Vaccinator and Pyro quite often on Viaduct. And against Lowpander, I don't even know what Lowpander are going to pull out of the bag, so we should see some really gimmicky play.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's definitely going to be interesting seeing what these guys, because I know Raptor, he does like to sort of bring those the Vaccinator charges out in really strange situations. You might not think it's going to work out, but he seems to sort of make it work, sort of popping off that Uber charge, switching the resistance. So they've essentially got two different damage buffs. And if you're saying they're going to be sort of bringing out the Pyro, maybe sort of going for those kind of Starkey plays where they push out right side to sort of break that forward hold and just reflect all the rockets and just be a real nuisance to the enemy team.
Yeah, I think it should be interesting. We are looking at some of the stats, the individual player matchups, and right now we've got Hildreth and Adam Razek, the demos for Lowpander and Arctic Foxes respectively. lower deaths and higher kills for Hildreth, so it looks like he's been playing a bit more safe, and I think he's beating him on almost every stat except damage, which is about even, and heals, which the advantage goes to Adam, playing a bit more heal efficient there. But that being said, I think Lowpander, they tend to play with quite a loose flank, and it's very heavily centered around Ubers and Hildreth kind of playing a tight combo that react to the advantages of the Medigun crits or Vaccinator, whatever it happens to be at the time. So they play quite safe, and I think they're really the core of the team. Whereas Arctic Foxes, they have a lot more. They tend to go for things like backcaps or flank aggression with DD5F, who likes to go for his Market Gardener, so that's another gimmick to watch out for. But yeah, I think both teams play quite different styles. A bit more combo-centric from Lowpander, and then Arctic Foxes like to abuse the flank a bit more, so I think it should be... I think the combo matchup's pretty close. Raptor, Feeling, Adam, and Shocky. It looks like Buttnose is marking today. I guess Sikaz is not able to play. And then the combo of Lowpander, you've got Hildreth, Kisakala, Ubers, and Granjabob. And I think they all both combos play pretty well together, but I think it might come down to the flanks on this map. The next matchup we're looking into is DD5F and Mookie. zeFrosty, do you want to take us through that?
Yeah, sure. Notice the sort of massive difference in kills and deaths per map on these guys, where Mookie's sort of on the very, very low end of these things, and DD5F is sort of skyrocketed up there. I think that's sort of just very different sort of styles that they play. As Mookie likes to sort of bring out different classes, he likes to sort of swap things up and like quite passive. Like he plays a lot of engineer. So I mean that 3 out of 6 game where they basically held last until Crayon walked on the teleporter, and then we have DD5F, who is constantly going for those aggressive plays, trying to get those drops in the medic with a shovel, and just going basically the more aggressive sort of style of Arctic Foxes sort of caters to him, going for the plays. Then they get maybe like a counter push off of them, and then they can sort of, off that feeling sort of very strong pocket, you can try and sort of make that work.
Yeah, it's a bit deceptive. I mean, it does show Mookie as a soldier, but everyone knows he's playing flex, the only flex in Prem. So most of the time he's not even playing soldier, and I think the heals per minute he received on the stats card there was about over 500, and that's probably because of the amount of off-classing he does. But going into our next matchup, we've got Mr. Epic versus Sukaz. Now, Buttnose is marking for Arctic Foxes, so I'm not sure how much we can read into this one, but it should give us a good idea of the matchup between the full rosters and the standard roles and like the styles of their play. So Mr. Epic, he's probably one of the most talented players in terms of his like DM on the Lowpander team. He's I think he's quite a linchpin in fights, and he's got pretty good 20 for 12 is his average KD. And I don't think he plays that heal heavy either, so I think he's going to be doing well on this Viaduct map. I don't know if they'll run him on Sniper. Maybe they'll have Mookie sniping, but Mr. Epic's one of the strongest, DM-wise strongest scouts in Prem just now, and he can snipe really well as well, so I'd be interested to see if we see much sniping on this map.
Yeah, it's definitely one to look out for, because I know, at least from last week, from what I saw, Mookie was doing a lot of the sniping, because I think just the way he plays, he likes to go for those sort of things. But I think maybe Mr. Epic will sort of stick to that sort of typical scout role. I know a lot of people like to have 2 scouts on this map just because they are so good at denying those soldier aggression, which they're definitely going to need against the soldiers of DD, and Feeling, just going for those very hyper aggressive plays, trying to shut down any sort of letting them get in the comfort zone.
Yeah, and I think another thing that will be important is how each of the demos play on this map, because Viaduct can be very easy to punish over extended demos, and I think it's important for demo men on this map to have significant enough denial of players that are trying to aggress, whether it's putting enough damage on the scouts and soldiers so they can't walk forward, or just laying carpets of stickies to deny area. And I think Adam's been pretty good at that so far from what I've seen of him this season. I think Hildreth plays more catering to what his team is doing, but it should be interesting. I think we're having some problems with the server, so I'm not sure how soon it'll be before we're good to go. It looks frozen to me.
Yeah, everyone was just sort of doing the moonwalk in the air. And I think. Wait.
I think we might try switching the STV.
Yeah, I
We
think
might
they
need to speak to some of the players on the team, though.
Oh dear. Yeah, no, I think that is sort of one of those things to look out for. Is just the sort of conflicting styles on this map are going to be one thing that I think both of these teams are going to have trouble with. Like, I know the side of Lowpander like sort of play a very sort of passive style. They like to sort of wait for picks and sort of slowly go as a team. And it seems like Arctic Foxes are very much a very aggressive team. They like to sort of keep the flow of the game going, whether it sort of sacrifices in their soldiers some of the times where it might not work out for them 100%. They definitely like sort of just catching people off guard, not letting them get into any sort of comfort zone, and just keeping that aggression up the whole time.
I think we're going to be... Sorry to interrupt, zeFrosty, but just I think we're going to be switching to another STV because we're having troubles with the ones we're on at the moment. And once we're reconnected, I think we should be good to go.
Yeah. All right. Okay. I think the game has already started, and we are missing out a little bit. But hopefully we haven't missed too much of it, and hopefully nothing too crazy has already happened.
Yeah, I'm just connecting now, so it should be alright. I think that might be the end of the stats that we're looking at, though, because we do need to get into covering the game.
The meat of.
How do you think Gullywash will play out?
Ooh, I think it's definitely going to sort of play more to the side of Arctic Foxes, just due to the sort of nature of off-classing on Viaduct. Seems to work out a lot better, just due to the whole slowing down the pace of the game. You can't really work around those different classes, but yeah.
I think going into Gullywash, I think a lot of it will come down to last holds and last pushes, especially with the the gimmicks that Lowpander run. And
yeah, but definitely with the engineer and the sentries and stuff like that.
That being said, Arctic Foxes tend to use a lot of Vaccinator holding last and all sorts of stuff. So I think both of these teams like to make the most out of unlocks and off-classing to really secure their last holds. So I think we might see quite a low-scoring game. I think maybe only 3 or 4 rounds in it in the total, but we'll see how it goes. I think it is just a pause that we have on the server right now. That's why it's frozen. But I'm not sure how long it'll be going on for. The pause happened at the very start of the game, so I don't think we missed anything yet.
Yeah, hopefully not. At the moment, I'm just watching Shocky sort of standing in the air, just staring at his feet, making sure he's all ready, nice and dressed up for the game. Because, without the perfect hats on, you can't possibly be expected to frag at your top potential. But
it looks like something I've not actually noticed before, but a lot of the Arctic Foxes players have got fox misks that give them little furry ears, so really committing to the name.
Yeah, it's one of those things, it's just a bit of team building exercise. Adam's the most recent addition to the team. I think he was only brought in a couple of weeks ago. I think after Leto, dropped out. Not too sure what. I think he went down to high for whatever reason, but yeah, Adam clearly not quite fitting in the team yet. He's not got his white painted fox and hat. Might be a detriment to them this whole game if he's just not really cooperating with the rest of the team.
He's not looking foxy enough for this team. But speaking of Adam, I think him being brought in, I would say he's quite an upgrade over Leto, and I think he's one of the more promising demo talents in Europe at the moment. I think he could become a really top player, but he just needs to. Hopefully, they can stick together after the season, and he's got a good team to develop around. Because I think he could become really good, and I think Feeling's a really good pocket to be playing with in that regard because he's got experience and he's been proving this season that he's one of the best pockets active at the moment. So hopefully Adam can step up his game and be on par with Feeling, because I think it could be a force to be reckoned with, and we are looking at 2 of the contending teams for playoffs at the moment. Lowpander have kind of surprised people with how well they've been doing this season, and both of these teams could be looking at a playoff spot to contest with presumably top 5 champ and 7.
Yeah, it's
But
definitely quite a very key game for both of these teams because I think Lowpander have Champ GG and Seven up next, which are not going to be any easy task. And I'm not saying Arctic Foxes are weaker by a lot, but I think of the three teams, this is definitely the one that they're going to be looking to try and take some points off of and really try and boost themselves up into that guaranteed playoff spot. But I think yeah, both teams are going to be it's going to be very close for them, and they're going to definitely want to try and get as many points out of this. So, I mean, sometimes you think it's going to be every point that counts, but this one is definitely one of the ones where they want to get all 6 points from this fixture to make sure they sort of secure their spot for that playoffs.
yeah, it's just a bit of a shame that we can't actually watch the game yet.
Yeah,
it seems like there's always some technical issue or other, so I guess it's just a waiting game at this point.
Yep,
but
good old TF2.
I wonder if the teams will be having some strat talks at last minute in this pause, just and deciding whether to make some drastic changes. Maybe Lowpander have something crazy up their sleeves.
You think that's what it is? They've got like 5 spies in spawn, all disguised to make sure that they know which class Mookie's all up on. Make sure he's got
yeah, maybe.
Make sure he's not got heavy to mid or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't think they'll use that many off classes, but I mean more than any other team. But I think they'll use unlocks quite a bit. I think Mookie might be running spy to the first mid, but I can't say that for certain, obviously, because the server's still frozen.
Yeah, we're still sort of at the moment. For me, it says he's on sniper, but I think that was just for the pre-game. Try and spook the enemy team. That's one thing that I guess people sort of maybe underestimate is that if you're like running crits in pre-game or something like that, or you got a sniper in pre-game, you could possibly try and fool them into thinking that's what you're going to run throughout the game. But then you can just swap off and not have to worry about it. But you've sort of put that seed of doubt in their head, and maybe they're going to be more paranoid about those crazy plays that they're going to try and bring out. Or
yeah, I think the element of surprise is definitely a big factor in this, and when people get used to playing the standard cookie cutter lineups for so long, they kind of tend to autopilot a bit. So when someone busts out, I don't know, Vaccinator Medic or Conch, people can be a bit slow to react. And with the amount of these kind of things that Lowpander tend to use, they've got quite an arsenal when it comes to the element of surprise. So as long as Arctic Foxes are on their toes and quick to react to wherever it happens to be, whether it's a spy to the first mid or Jurati comboing with soldier bombs or whatever they want to do, I think as long as they're reacting quickly enough, they should be able to give them a good fight. But if they get ahead of themselves and let Lowpander abuse the unlocks and give them surprises in fights, then I think Lowpander might edge out this match.
Yeah, that's one thing to sort of look out for, is just the kind of the surprise factor that they can bring to the game. Because I've noticed a lot when you're watching the guys on Lowpander that there's people on the standard 60s teams that like play, for example, spy is one thing I've noticed, where they will not uncloak unless they are like 10 miles away from the enemy team, just to be 100% sure they've not been noticed. And I've noticed like people like Mookie and Grenja Bob, Highlander spy mains, or whatever you want to call them, who kind of just uncloak in front of everyone, and you'd think, how the hell is this going to work? And then they just drop the mid, and it's just, you kind of just think they're kind of like maybe a step ahead on that sort of front, where they know the classes very well and they know how to sort of distract for each other and sort of get those crazy plays in.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a thing where with most people that, like I was saying, just get used to playing the cookie cutter lineup. When someone on their team's off classing, say they have a sniper or whatever it happens to be, I don't think they factor it into their decision making as much, and they don't really involve the other classes in their team. But Lowpander have been really good at, with whatever lineup they're running and whatever Mookie happens to be running on flex, they're good at making it work and playing as a team. I think we will have the unpause happening soon, and I think Production Guy was saying we've got a poll going on at the moment. I'm not sure if we can get the results up for that.
Yeah, I think shown on the bottom left of the stream at the moment. I think you can sort of see who people are favouring to win. It's looking like about 2/3 of the folk are saying Arctic Foxes are going to win over this, but I don't know. I mean, I think people are maybe underestimating Lowpander, and you don't know if Mookie's on his day, if he's going to just hit every single shot on sniper, or uncloak behind people as spy, and they're just not going to be able to have their earphones on or something. But I don't know. But yeah, I guess the sort of same surprise factor comes out on the enemy team with DD5F going for the Market Gardens. We've seen him on this map, especially since it's so wide open. If you can sort of jump behind the scouts without getting noticed, it's definitely going to be very hard for them to sort of stave off that aggression.
And it does look like we are on pause and we're about to ready up and go live, so this should be a good first map of the two, unless we've just paused again. Maybe
It kind of looks like we have.
pause.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that means that someone maybe dropped from the server. They're just sort of pausing, unpausing to let them back in, but hopefully we should be unpausing again in a very short period of time. It was a good 10 seconds of gameplay that we got there pre-game, so it's looking hopeful. It's better than what we've been having in the past 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think it should be... Oh, so we haven't missed anything, which is a good start. But yeah, going to this first mid, I mean, if Mookie is running the spy, I'd like to see Arctic Foxes kind of recognize that and realize that there's only 5 fracking classes on the field and be aggressive with it. But yeah, I don't know. I think if there's a buff banner or any of the banners being used from either team, I think it should be good to see, because it does bring in another kind of hectic element into it, rather than just focusing on ubercharge advantages and that kind of thing. There's another charge involved in the game. So I think Feeling's been doing that quite a bit this season. I think it's Conch that he's running. And then I don't know if Ubers does the same, but
I think Ubers likes to sort of switch it up a bit more. He uses I've seen him using battalions and conch, and I think a few times he's used buff banner. It's definitely not the most popular of the two, because I think people generally tend to prefer the battalions backup for almost like it is a second Uber charge. It's like the budget Uber, where you don't really get invincibility, but everyone kind of gets that sort of passive buff where they don't take quite as much damage. So if you want to get like 4 people in your combo and you can only Uber one of them, you can just sort of pop off that banner. 3 or 4 people can walk through the same spam and take basically half the same amount of damage. Just sort of an easier way to sort of break those stalemates and sort of get in while they can. But definitely using the conch is definitely a good one as well, because I mean, if Ubers is running that the crits with Kisakala and they sort of pop them both off at the same time, it's basically impossible to kill him, because he's just regenerating all his health from every rocket that he shoots off. I mean, provided that he hits every rocket like he generally seems to do.
It's a bit nice to see, to be honest. I think a lot of people tend to play standard 6s and, low risk, but if you can make use and take advantage of some of the, what we call gimmicks of TF2, it can work to a good effect. And at this stage, both teams can be contending playoffs, and while I do expect Arctic Foxes to come out on top overall, I think it's very likely that we'll see some points going to the way of Lowpander, and if they're playing well, I think they could maybe even take a victory over the 2 maps. But yeah, I would have favoured Arctic Foxes going into this. I didn't get a chance to check the logs for the warm-up games for Lowpander, but I do think those tend to play a big part in how matches go. I think well-warmed-up teams generally play a lot better, and it looked like Arctic Foxes had a good set of games from Champ GG for their warm-up, so going into this I think they're playing pretty well, but I'm not sure really how Lowpander will be faring against them.
Yeah, I think I caught the end of Mookie's stream just before this to make sure I turned up on time, but I think they were sort of losing slightly to Lemmings on Gullywash, so maybe that's sort of maybe it's not their favourite map, because they did go up against Lemmings last week on this map, and I can't remember what map it was. I think it was what map was last week?
I think it was Via and Reckoner.
Yeah, it was Reckoner where they. Oh yeah, I forgot, because they were bringing out the heavy plays to mid with Natasha, and they were just not able to counter that in any way. But yeah, no, I think looking at it, maybe they're not quite so confident on the Gullywash map, but you never know, they might just have had a bad day. And plus, I think last week they had Mel on Medic instead of Honey, and I know Honey is the sort of linchpin strat master of that team, sort of making sure everyone's in line. So
yeah.
maybe that was what they were missing last week, and they just got a bit unfortunate that his PC decided to crumble at the last second.
Yeah, I was just looking at the warm-up games for Lowpander just now, and they did play two maps, and both of them that they lost against Lemmings on Gully and Viaduct. So maybe they're not coming into this feeling as confident as Arctic Foxes are. Especially that Arctic Foxes played Champ GG, who are one of the better teams in Prem just now, and they had really close games. I think Lowpander playing Lemmings, who are sort of a mid-table Prem team, and losing, I don't know, quite convincingly. I don't think they won many of the mids on Gullywash, but speaking of Gullywash, we're not going to think about that map because we got a bit of an unpause here on Viaduct, but we paused again, it looks like. So I really don't know what's going on. I think maybe just a lot of people disconnecting, or...
I didn't even get the unpause. I mean, I've still seen Granger Bob just sort of floating in the exact same position for the past 5 minutes, but yeah, I think hopefully we should get something starting. I'm not sure if there's been any contact with any of the guys here, but I'm not sure what's happening. Yeah, I suppose we could go into that. What's your predictions for these maps? I guess what scores are you expecting to pull out? You thinking it's going to be pretty close, or do you think it's going to be a roll?
I might be slightly biased because I always like seeing close games. But I guess I'll try and stick to the inner analyst in me. I'd expect Viaduct. To be honest, I've not watched much of Lowpander, but I think Arctic Foxes are fairly strong in it. So I would say 3-1 on Viaduct to Arctic Foxes. And when it comes to Gullywash, again, I think, like I was saying earlier, I think it will come down to last holds and last pushes. And again, I'd expect Arctic Foxes to win that, but maybe a bit closer, so maybe 4-2 on Gully.
Right. Well, on that note, I think we are going live onto this first mid, so who are you going to be watching? I'm going to be watching Adam as he's going in this left side, getting some decent spam off. We're just Shocky actually, and Didi, and both the soldiers have just jumped onto Lowpander's cliff, getting a lot of damage. Hildreth goes down, and Mookie is on that spy, getting Raptor down, so that is going to be no heals on the side of Arctic Foxes. But yeah, it looks like Arctic Foxes have won the first mid, but I think Kisakala stayed alive on that one, so they're going to be wanting to re-push with that sort of crits creep charge that they have built up and try and just completely wipe the team. But it's going to be interesting to see how they try and stave off this aggression. They are up on Vaccinator, so that's definitely the right play to go for here.
Yeah, it's like I was saying, we'll be seeing a lot more of this. Hildreth's walking towards the point now with Kisakala, and I think the crits is about to come in. He gets one sticky off, but he doesn't hit anything, and then the counter-vax comes out. They get the frag onto Granger Bob, and Adam trades for it, so we've got a fight ensuing on point. And Arctic Foxes are playing the Vaccinator really well. Their heals are really good, and Lowpander take too much spam and just have to back out. So I think that's been pretty well played, but they were looking to recommit, and I think Hildreth gets a bit ahead of himself, so he does go down. They might need to just wait for him before they can start re-pushing. Mookie was on Sniper, but I think we're now seeing all the players disconnecting. It was Mookie, and that's why we had so many pauses before. But with the first mid, I noticed the aggression from Feeling and Didi was really coordinated, and they didn't overcommit. They just went in, did some span and backed out, and then everyone was able to follow up. But going into this next team fight, zeFrosty, I wonder how Lowpander will decide to approach it.
Yeah, I think Didi is up on the Sniper, so he's going to be trying to counter what they're doing there. But I think they're just getting completely stuffed out of this choke. I think they're trying to go for sort of this budget sack wave, but they have got the crits coming out, and Raptor is just using that Vaccinator to full effect, and despite both of his soldiers and his Sniper going down, he's still alive, so they're going to be wanting to sort of use those bubbles as effectively as they can, just get on that point, get as much time as they can off of it. We just see them sort of shaping up here. They didn't get any picks onto the team of Lowpander, so Mookie sort of setting up on this wee sort of perch on the side of the house, trying to get some cheeky wee angles that maybe DD won't be expecting, get counter-sniped, but they're definitely making use of this of the Jurati, just trying to get that extra damage. Ubers goes in, trades with DD5F, and Shocky is just cleaning up damage for them, and I think that's going to be the side of Arctic Foxes taking over this point. Lowpander look like they're trying to get some aggression on it, but in the end it's definitely going to be them having to back out here. Granger Bob going solo, and yeah, he's completely wiped there. Kisakala does escape with 99% Uber, but yeah, it was a really good push from the side of Arctic Foxes.
It was looking good when they got the pick on Raptor, but I'm just never a favour of aggressing to start a fight when you have the point because of the spawn advantage for the enemy team. it's a lot better to just play passively and react to them when they start pushing. So the crits does come out just now from Hildreth, and Grandjapub goes down to the snipe from DD5F, and he's not able to get anything. Raptor's playing really well with the Vax bubbles, so I think he's going to have another one just for the team to go aggressive. He's been tending to pop on feeling as he jumps in, and this is what I was saying, like if they're defending the point passively while the Lowpander players start the aggression, then they've got a much more favourable fight. But Mookie is coming in with some headshots and Adam with some pipes, so this is becoming a messier and messier fight. It's a 2v2 with Adam and Feeling Alive against Kisakala and Mr. Epic. Raptor does spawn now, but I think Lowpander are going to have a bit of uber advantage, but maybe it won't come into it if Raptor can get some bubbles off. But so far Arctic Foxes have been holding the point, so the timer's just ticking down for them, and I think they've been playing this right so far. They might have to give up the point now, zeFrosty, because of the overwhelming heals from Kisakala, but I think they played that very well.
Yeah, that was a very good job from Kisakala staying alive there against the Devilman, and Feeling did get a nice bomb onto him, but Grandjapub or Mr. Epic, I can't remember which one, but one of them keeping that aggression off of him. It does kind of look like Arctic Foxes are pushing with the heavy here. He's up on the rock, he gets taken down instantly by the crit sticky there, and it looks like that plan just did not work out for them at all. I think Raptor is going to make it away with his life, got 50% Uber, or can't really see on my HUD what charge he's actually running right now, but he's definitely got the Uber advantage, and it looks like Lowpander very happy to sort of take this position, trying to get a forward hold there, but Arctic Fox is sort of making the right decision, trying to get out as soon as they possibly can, and it looks like they're going to try and make as much impact with this Uber as possible. They're shaping up to come in through this main position, and with that distraction of DD5F, they just all turned their heads, and that's just going to make a very easy entry for Arctic Foxes to get in here. They've completely taken over that point control, and everyone in the side of Lowpander have just been completely backed out. It looks like Kisakala does have that crits up, and they're going to pop it off on Mr. Epic, trying to get some shots onto Raptor, but he's just duking and dodging. He eventually does go down, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough, because the rest of Lowpander's team has just gone completely down, and the scouts completely cleaning house on the side of Arctic Foxes to take that first round.
Really well played from Arctic Foxes there. I was doubting it a bit because it was only a 30% advantage, and I felt like they needed to get onto the medic, but I think they got Hildreth with it, so Kisakala was forced to pop on Mr. Epic, and he kind of beefed with, I think, 5 shots it took him to kill Raptor. Nice dodging from Raptor there, but well played from Arctic Foxes to just kite the crits and then collapse on them on the point. But as they're going into this second mid fight, we do have some soldier aggression, but both teams are kind of playing it passively, just sticking to their territories. And we've got a heavy out on Mookie for Lowpander, so let's see how Arctic Foxes do react to this zeFrosty.
Yeah, we've got Mookie sort of holding that point. Adam is trying to get as much spam onto him as possible. He does take him down eventually, but it kind of looks like the whole heavy play there just completely stopped Arctic Foxes wanting to put any aggression on there. They've sort of been backed up. Kisakala's going down to very, very low amounts of HP, but it kind of looks like they're just sort of taking this point for free, as they've really not. They just sort of get a few sort of picks with this Mookie heavy, which he's decided to come back up on. He's decided it is time to put, and there's no sniper on the side of Arctic Foxes to try and sort of get that long range damage onto him, so they're just going to have to uber in on here. The crits is completely useless on that. But everyone on the side of Arctic Foxes is very low, and if the people on the Lowpander side sort of got in the right aggression there, they could have potentially just completely wiped them. But I think this is going to be the point coming up for the side of Arctic Foxes, waiting for that butt-nose spawn. But instead of them actually getting the point, they nearly beefed that there. They nearly did a herpy.
It's an interesting decision from Lowpander to try and contest that right as they were about to cap, but I think they took a bit of damage, and I think it's slowing them down in this next fight. You can see the follow-up there from Feeling, and Ubers does go down, but Mookie's walking in from the left side with his heavy, and he's just getting focused down by Shocky. Playing heavy away from heals against the flank is kind of a bad idea, I don't know. But they are looking to come in with the crits. They do get Adam. Nice sticky from Hildreth, and he's trying to get another long-range sticky, but it doesn't hit anything. Kind of wishful thinking there, but they're getting the picks, and if they can get onto DD to stop this sniper from pressuring them, I think they might be able to secure this. And yeah, nice stickies from Hildreth to deny DD5F the sightlines. And now Mookie's coming up on Spy, so I wonder how they're going to use that to counter this push in from Arctic Foxes, zeFrosty.
Yeah, I think they do like using that Mookie Spy. quite aggressively, where he'll just uncloak behind everyone after the sort of aggression of his soldiers. But yeah, they've used this Uber to get in, but they've only got one pick. They got Hildreth, which is sort of good for getting the point, but they didn't really do a whole lot with that Uber, and they just seem to get completely crumbled upon. I mean, Mookie gets the nice backstab off into a Raptor at the end there, but yeah, they're just completely shut down by both the scouts and soldier of Lowpander. There's nothing they could do there. They used up on Cliff. They tried to get in, but everyone was so backed out already that it was completely useless. And Kisakawa's back up on this crit, so if they all clump up in one spot, maybe Hildreth, maybe Urs can just completely destroy them. But yeah, they are up on that vaccinator, going to try and counter that crits. We do see them sort of coming in on that left-hand side, but they just done absolutely nothing with it. Raptor even drops his crit, his vaccinator to that crit sticky, which you would have thought he would have it on blast resistance, but no. The side of Lowpander, if they just sort of stop them getting on the point here, they can run that clock down even further than they already have. But Arctic Foxes do take the point, but I don't think they're going to hold on to it for very long.
Yeah, that was quite nice. Well played from Lowpander, especially with keeping Kisakawa alive against the vaccinator aggression. And now they're collapsing onto them on left. So much damage being put out. Some follow-up. Raptor goes down. Feeling goes down, and then Adam's about to die on point. And this is pretty disastrous for Arctic Foxes. They're just not going to be able to fight against the heals being put out on point from Kisakawa for Lowpander. And Mookie gets another backstab before he dies. It's like I was saying at the start of the game, they're doing so well to support this spy. In the last time they ran it, he got an early pick on the sniper, and then he just pistoled them away while his team was spamming them on point, and Arctic Foxes kind of forgot about the spy, and he comes in at the end of the fight. But we do see the crits coming in from Hildreth, getting 2 picks on Feeling Shocky, flashing it over to Mr. Epic for the kill on Adam and Buttnose, and DD5F goes down. So it's only Raptor leaving this fight with 17 seconds left on the point for Lowpander, and without any Ubers being close to being charged, I think this is just going to be a dry push to try and not lose the round for Arctic Foxes. So they're coming in. Shocky's aggressive on the point. The spy is in behind, and he doesn't get anything, but he's putting a lot of pressure, causing some panic among the ranks of Arctic Foxes, and they do starting to feed players. 3 go down, and I think Lowpander are just going to focus fire and secure this fight. And just DD5 left alive with a very low risk bomb there, and Arctic Foxes do fail that push and allow Lowpander to secure the round. So 1-1 going into this third round, zeFrosty.
Yeah, I don't think the vaccinator play from the side of Raptor is really working out for them. I mean, they've used it a few times now, but it worked the first time, and now I think the side of Lowpander was kind of figured it out. They're just flashing that crits onto different types of damages so they can get that full crit buff. But we are going on to this third mid. There's a lot. Oh my god, that aggression from Feeling and DD have just got right across the point. Somehow, only Feeling going down, and that DD doing very well to get out. But the spy of Mookie not quite able to get anything, but he has sort of caused a bit of mayhem. And 3 players on the side of Arctic Foxes have gone down. Make that 4, and it's just Raptor and Adam alive now. No one's going to chase them into spawn, but yeah, there was a very convincing mid. Nobody, apart from Mookie going down pretty early, died on that mid, so it was really good from them. I think Mookie got a bit of pistol damage before he sort of got taken down and was made ineffective from that push, but I think they're going to try and come in now. We do see Adam trying to sort of get some damage. That Uber is popped off, the crits nearly takes them down, but Raptor is saving them in the nick of time. But they've gone really far across the point. They just need to sort of stay away from those crit stickies while Mookie and Ubers come in from behind, getting a lot of damage, but everyone going down to such low HP. That was so unfortunate from them there. If they just focused the same targets, they could have maybe got something out of that, but they were just shooting different people at different times, and I saw 2 or 3 people down to those very low 20, 30 HPs. Yeah, unfortunate from them there, but that is going to sort of prompt the forward hold from the side of Arctic Foxes with everyone staying alive. Mookie is sort of going behind on that point, so it's definitely one to watch out for.
Yeah, Mookie is on spy. He's in on a Raptor, and he doesn't get the backstab. Raptor turns around in the nick of time, but he's almost pistoled him to death. Raptor was on, I think, 6 HP there. And Hildreth's following up, trying to get the kill on Raptor, but he's jumped in and he doesn't get any damage off. Unfortunate there, but I wanted to commend Arctic Foxes. They had a textbook example of how to play Uber versus crits. As Hildreth pops in the crits, they just counter-pop the Uber and aggressed everyone onto point, and then they got 6 kills without losing anyone, so that's exactly how you're supposed to play it. Well played to Arctic Foxes, but now we're seeing even Ubers. Well, I think it's Uber versus crits just now, and I wonder if they'll be able to do the same thing again. Raptor didn't die despite holding on that forward hold with only 30%. The crits comes in and they get a pick on Buttnose. Here's the counter pop from Raptor and he can't get onto Feeling in time, so they do lose their Heavy. Heavy not being great against crits. And we got some rotations from Lowpander, so they're just kind of slowing it down, keeping their buffs. But Kisakala does go down along with Mr. Epic to DD5F in the flank. So now we've got a fight on point with not many fragging classes for Arctic Foxes, but not much heals for Lowpander, and it looks like Lowpander are winning that fight. And Mookie also goes down to D5F. DD5F's on a 7 kill streak. He gets an 8th before he goes down, just causing havoc in the flank, and I don't know how Lowpander can't react to that quickly enough. DD5F doing so much more work than he should have been able to. But we've got another fight on the point here, zeFrosty.
Yeah, we just see the side of Lowpander, despite being 2 down, trying to get some sort of aggression onto Raptor. They know that they have the crits on Kisakala, so they're wanting to make sure that they do not have that Uber. If that means killing the medic or forcing it off, they just don't want either of those up. But we do see on, I think, did I see a sniper on the field there? Yeah, I think Mookie's up on sniper here, going to try and get that pick. He does get Feeling, great pick from him there. That's going to really make it a lot easier without that spam capabilities. And Raptor does have a 100% Uber behind the point here. They do get the force. So if they can just get Kisakala out here, then potentially be able to make this. But DD5F just bombs straight onto him, takes out that Kisakala, and you might even be able to. Yeah, he gets Mr. Epic as well. Great plays from DD5F. He's really doing a lot of work. I mean, a lot of people say that this is not a soldier map and that scouts are dominating, but DD5F is he's trying to make a different point, and he is doing absolutely massive amounts of work for his team. And 30 seconds left on the clock to 2 minutes. That's really going to be crushing for Lowpander. They might not even have enough time for this crits to come out.
Yeah, it's kind of a similar story to the first round. There's a lot of close fights and close exchanges on the point, but Lowpander just haven't been capping it, and the time just keeps going down for Arctic Foxes. Now they're forced to walk onto the point and play it from there, and there's just a lot of damage being put onto Lowpander, but the silver lining is that they do get the pick on Raptor, and they've got some more frags following up on the point, but Kisakala goes down, so the counter-aggression knows really well. And again, they're just going to be recapping this point. Not enough point presence shown from Lowpander. They get the initial cap, but they kind of split afterwards. And without anything holding the point, they're not really securing much time. And they were already at like a minute disadvantage, so now it's all or nothing really for Lowpander to try and secure this round. But they do get a pick on Shocky. Nice entry from Mookie, and they're putting out damage from Ubers on point, but no one's there to touch the point in time. Oh, Kisakala does manage to keep it alive, and I think they're all about to die to some spam from Arctic Foxes. Feeling comes in. There's 3 weak players on point, and they're not being killed just yet. Mr. Epic, Regibob, and Hildreth just about staying alive, and they all die to Buttnose and Adam Racecar. So, yeah, that was a bit unlucky, I guess.
Yeah, that was crazy how they sort of kept that alive. I think Kisakala just jumped on the point there, making sure it was kept alive, but everyone just... They were all down at like 50 HP, but there was no sort of follow-up from the side of Arctic Foxes, so they were able to capture that point, but unfortunately the respawns were just delayed by them capping the point and just made sure that they could not win that round. If they maybe kept it alive just long enough that it didn't quite cap, they could have maybe made something of it, but capping it off just let Arctic Foxes just completely retake that point with ease. But coming into this next mid, we do see Mookie on that heavy, completely denying any bombers that are going to come in. Mr. Epic a wee bit out of his depth there, does somehow live on 1 HP. He's going to be asking for an arrow for sure. Shocky is going to try and clean that up, but he is in. Shocky is just going right in there. Unfortunately not able to get any pick up onto Kisakala that I think he wanted, but yeah, that was a really convincing mid from Lowpander.
Yeah, that wasn't going to work going in against a heavy like that, but we do see a full crits charge for Lowpander, and Raptor doesn't quite have Uber yet. He's on 85%, so maybe Hildreth can get a miracle sticky. He's also running the loose cannon, so some good spam from there. Interestingly, we saw Adam with quickie bombs on the start of the mid, so I think he was kind of lacking damage output as there's only 4 sticks, but DD5F gets a nice entry pick onto Grandra, so they're looking to take this Uber in aggressively against the crits, and they're focusing down the heavy on point, but Kisakala and Hildreth have come out and they've just not been able to get anything with the crits. I think Arctic Foxes have been playing this Uber v crits really well. They're flashing everyone in, getting picks on the point and making it really risky for Lowpander to commit, but that being said, now they do have the spawn advantage and they've got Mookie on the spy, so I think Mookie's going to be trying to get in through the left as they kind of edge towards the point. And then they're going to do that play again where they support their off classes by coming in at the same time, so they kind of distract. Mookie is on the right, they get a pick onto Shocky, and now a fight's starting on point, zeFrosty.
Yeah, we just see sort of Mookie sort of getting a bit 1v1 on the end there, but yeah, they're just going to waltz onto the point. No Uber v Uber. DD getting a massive headshot onto Kisakala. That's going to be no Uber crits for the side of Lowpander. And without heals, I think Arctic Foxes should really just get those buffs, make sure those secured frags play as a team, and then they should be able to take this point with ease. Granger Bob is trying to make something happen. He does get some good damage off onto Raptor, and Hildreth not quite able to follow up, but yeah. It was quite crazy how Lowpander just kind of walk across the point, they get like one pick, they capture off the point, and if DD hadn't quite clutched that out for his team, getting the pick onto Kisakala, they maybe not able to make that work, but they're looking like they're setting up for a forward hold here, so maybe you might see the Pyro play out from Mookie. It looks like he's still opting for the Spy, but you never know, he might, he is sort of behind the lines right now, so once he gets the call from his team that they're coming through, he's going to be trying to get onto that medic.
I think he has been spotted now, and they do kill him, so... But while Arctic Foxes turn around to deal with the Spy, Lowpander are really quick to take advantage of the fact that they were, distracted. So they do break that forward hold, and they get in with a pick onto Adam. They're running Vaccinator now rather than the crits, because the crits hasn't been working, so if they can draw out this fight long enough and keep their players alive with bubbles, they might be able to win this. They do get a pick onto DD, and Ubers is going behind. Arctic Foxes aren't able to secure any more kills. I think Mookie's fighting on the point, and he almost dies, and he does, but knows with good follow-up. But the counter-aggression in from Lowpander, and they get a lot of kills. Hildreth bombs in deep, and he gets good damage onto Raptor, but there's no one to follow up. So it just looks like Lowpander are going to reset onto the point, content with their Vaccinator bubbles and the fact that Raptor doesn't have Uber. And with the spawn advantage now to Arctic Foxes, they should be able to take a fight. They still have about a 20-second advantage on the point timer, so... I wonder how they'll be able to push against, four Vaccinator bubbles, zeFrosty?
Yeah, definitely going to be difficult for them to get in here without getting some sort of picks on the flank. I think what they're really going to have to use is the sort of the buff weakness on the side of Lowpander, where they're just not going to be able to heal up if they just sort of keep those prolonged fights. They're going to, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're just completely crushing them, to be honest. He pops off 3 of those charges, but it looks like they were completely ineffective. Just nothing quite working out for the side of Lowpander there. But yeah, that's one of the things that is very weak about the Vaccinator, is that you just can't buff your team very well. So if they take those long fights and maybe get sort of picking like good damage on the flank, they're just going to win if they play it right, if they just sort of don't feed in their players. But we do see Mr. Epic up on the sniper getting 2 massive headshots there. Both the soldiers and the sniper on the side of Arctic Foxes go down. They don't quite get the point though. Mr. Epic he's getting so much free reign on that cliff side, and his team is just able to capitalise off it so well. Both those players just completely stumped, but the health on Lowpander is so weak even after that. They might get the point, but it's not looking like they're going to hold on for it very long.
Yeah, they do really need to give it up after losing 3 players. I think the critical mistake that they're making a lot is they're losing far too many players when they have the point, and with spawn disadvantage, it's not even worth trading. So they do know how to wait for Mookie, but a lot of nice headshots coming out from Mr. Epic. So I don't know, maybe if they can get that going again, maybe if you can outsnipe DD5F, they can get something going. But they do lose 2 players, and it might be a third. Not quite. Mookie manages to escape, and DD5F goes down to another nice headshot from Mr. Epic. But the Vaccinator bubble's coming, and the Uber's getting focused. He got denied really hard there, and the counter Uber coming in from Arctic Foxes, and they're just putting so much damage and aggression onto the point. Unless Lowpander have some miracle play, I think this is the 3rd round going to Arctic Foxes. Hildreth coming in with a last-ditch attempt, but they both die to a lot of combined spam, and it is 3-1 to Arctic Foxes at the end of map 1.
Yeah, so it looks like you were right. You got the score perfectly predicted, both the right teams, so you can see that you're a born analyst.
Yeah, I think that played out pretty much how I would have expected it to. There was a lot of times where the trades were really close, but either Lowpander just weren't doing anything to get time on the point, or it came down to like either a 1v1 or small little things that could have gone wrong, and then it just went into the favour of Arctic Foxes, so they kind of ticked out the time away. There was one round where it was more into the round that they secured. Lowpander played really well, and they kept the hold, and I think they denied Arctic Foxes from getting in a lot, but I think they were staying on crits quite a lot, and after Arctic Foxes figured out how to counter it with the aggressive Ubers, they just didn't really have an answer, so they switched to Vax in the end, and that's why I think the last round was a bit closer, but still, it was a bit too little too late. I think the crits was probably a bit of a risk that wasn't needed from Lowpander, but that is just how they play.
Yeah, I think the Mediguns on the side of Lowpander were kind of letting them down. They were not being nearly as effective as you would hope with those crits. Raptor just, I guess, playing it very well, making sure that he got out and lived a lot of the time so that whenever the side of Lowpander wanted to use those crits, there was just nothing they could really do. I mean, if he didn't have the Uber charge, he would be on Vaccinator, and if he didn't have the Vaccinator, he was dead. So, yeah, it was a very good side. Just great play from the Arctic Foxes. And if you want to take us through some of the longs, maybe sort of looking at the damage.
I'm looking at the stats now. I mean, it is a bit. The damage is fine, but the damage per minute will all be skewed because of the amount of pauses. But ignore that. We'll just take a look at the damage and the sort of KDs, I guess. Top damage on Hildreth, but he did have quite a bit more deaths than I'd like to see for a demo. So I think there was a lot of aggression from Arctic Foxes that they couldn't quite handle. Whereas Adam was a lot lower on the deaths, closer to the medic amount of deaths, while still putting out good damage. One player I was like surprisingly impressed with was DD5F. He had a crazy spree on Soldier where he was just running around behind the Lowpander defenses and picking off one player at a time in 1v1s. And then he was hitting some really nice shots on Sniper as well. So I'd probably say the playmaker of that game goes to DD5F. But if we're looking, between the lines with the logs, I'd say really, really a lot of credit needs to be given to Raptor for the way he decided to start using his Ubers against the crits. And when they tried Vax in the first few rounds, they were pretty good at aggressing with the bubbles and keeping their players alive. I know, is there anything that stands out for you?
Well, I think you got to really look at I don't know, I'm playing Scout this season, so I sort of pick up on these things, but you look at like Shocky, who's doing basically double the amount of damage that he's taking, and then you look at sort of the Scouts on the other side of Granger Bob, who's sort of on the lower side of there. He's got 23 deaths, which is the most on the server, and you tend to expect on Viaduct that those Scouts are basically being tanked to stop off that Soldier aggression, but he just wasn't really getting into the flow of it. As you were saying, DD5F making a lot of plays, maybe that was just due to the fact that Granger wasn't sort of getting in and making the plays that he really should have, denying that Soldier aggression. I mean, it's so easy for you to sort of just tap them for 20 damage to stop them from moving in the sky, and maybe DD just wasn't getting enough focus from the enemy team, and he was just able to get behind, as you say, with making those crazy plays that he was definitely getting credit where credit's due. But yeah, I think maybe the Scouts on the side of Arctic Foxes were just better on the day.
Yeah, when you sort by either kills or damage, you can see just a dominant performance from the players on Arctic Foxes. I was quite disappointed with Ubers this game. I think he's been one of the more important players for Lowpander, and I think maybe because it's 5CP, he'll step up on this map too. But that's pretty underwhelming for as far as his performances usually go. He's usually one of the top fraggers and top damagers in most games, and he plays that role in his team. But I think he was playing a bit loose from Kisakala on Viaduct, whereas I think he plays a lot closer to him on 5CP maps. So maybe it's just a matter of how they play the style, because we do see Hildreth with a lot of damage, and I think damage taken's quite an important stat, especially on Viaduct, because it gives you a much better idea of the kind of players that are staying with their medic and playing sort of heal heavy, or the pocket rolls, and that's where we see Hildreth, Feeling, Adam. They're all quite high damage taken, and I think that's because they're being kept alive.
Yeah, I could definitely see that, because I know that Ubers a lot of the times on 5CP maps he takes a lot of the crits, which is why his sort of damage stats are always in like the 10, 11Ks, where you just sort of think that's just like crazy amounts of damage that you wouldn't really expect to see soldiers making. But yeah, I think maybe because they were using the crits a lot more on Hildreth this time, and maybe they just were trying something different. I don't know if they'd been practicing it more in scrims where they sort of wanted to take the Ubers away from Ubers for whatever reason and put it more back onto that sort of traditional using the one demo man instead. But I think maybe he was playing a bit of a looser style pocket because of the off-classing capabilities that Mookie was always going for. Maybe just having that soldier that's sort of going behind, because I did see him going behind quite a lot more than you normally do see soldiers going behind in the pocket role at least. Maybe he was just sort of trying to play that roamer while they had the off class as well, and it's maybe just not working out for them.
Is there? I wonder if we can get medic stats up on screen, because I'd be quite interested to see the difference in heal spread and Uber charges and that kind of thing. But I think we are starting on map 2, so we'll just ignore that for now. Going into this first mid, we do see Mr. Epic running the. Or is that Mookie? I can't tell. My HUD's a bit cut off, but we do see a sniper coming out from Lowpander, whereas Cookie Cutter on Arctic Foxes. So this should be an interesting first mid to watch, zeFrosty.
Yeah, I think Mookie is sort of already fully charged, readying that body shot on the big door side. I think they're going to be they're just sort of keeping that sort of aggression staved off from the Arctic Foxes side, taking each other's side, trying to mirror that. Well, we do see Granger Bob trying to go in there onto Feeling, but he's getting completely taken down, and that's 2 picks on the side of Arctic Foxes. I think 80% on the side of Kisakala. He's not really hooked up to anyone at the moment, so that Uber charge is dwindling, and if I think he's all the way out to last already. Mookie up on that sentry man, but yeah, it was a dominating mid from Arctic Foxes, just playing that mid to a T. They took up the side of Lowpander, like they took their side on mid and just mirrored what they were doing, and then they completely denied that sniper from having any effect whatsoever.
And you would think it's an even Uber situation, but being Lowpander is Uber versus crits. And the Uber comes in from Arctic Foxes, and they get onto Kisakala, and he does go down, so there's not going to be any crits coming into play. They just need to deal with this entry and get onto the point, and they should be able to cap this. Hildreth is weak, and as Kisakala's down, there's no heals for Lowpander. But they are just deciding to reset, I guess. I don't think they want to take a 3v3 fight against off-classes, so they're just happy to wait for this Uber advantage and push with that. But that being said, I think it now gives Kisakala the opportunity to run Vax, but he's deciding to stick with the crits. Okay, no, he goes into spawn and he is on Vaccinator, so I did like the idea. I think one thing that's really good holding last is when you have crits and you're holding last, I think the last ditch attempt is if you go heavy, you can have your heavy shoot with the crits long range at the non-Uber targets, and it can be good, but They have switched to Vaccinator for now, and we do have Shocky in Sneaky on Spy, so he's going to be looking to make a play, and he's going behind and he saps the sentry. Wow, that's not a play that you see very often, and it doesn't really work because now they know they have Spy and they've dealt with the sapper, so Shocky's just on point and he does go down. The crits coming out from Arctic Foxes, I thought they were on Uber, but I guess they switched.
Yeah, I think what they did was Raptor picked up the medigun of Kisakala when he died there, trying to sort of bait him out, but it doesn't really look like it's worked out too well for them. 3 players on the side of Arctic Foxes going down after that. Crits got absolutely no one, and it looks like Mr. Epic is just Wing into them, and Raptor is so close. Oh my god, I don't understand how he gets out there. 1 scout on the point, 1 scout chasing him through river, and he just jukes and dodges out of there. Absolutely very clutch play from Raptor there, to be honest. He's got to give him some credit. That was looking like a very dire situation for him there, but he does stay alive, and that just means he's got that 60% Uber. The Vaccinator, I think they still have that on the side there. Mookie does have a sentry in that lobby area, but I don't think he's going to quite get anything. It's still alive on very low amounts of health, but yeah, if they don't take it out now, well, Mookie's dead. That sentry's just going to completely stop them from getting any aggression. Yeah, we do see Feeling in there, and the crits has popped off yet again, but that Vaccinator on the side of Kisakala just completely stopping that from being effective in any way, shape or form.
Yeah, Vaccinator is quite a hard counter to Crits Krieg when it's used properly, so Raptor does get a nice Ubersoft kill, so maybe they've got a bit more of an advantage to work with, but they really need to be shooting the non-bubbled players, and DD5F's kind of in by himself. Adam and Raptor couldn't commit, and I think he's going to die just now, yeah, so they lose 2 picks holding mid, and with crits against Vaccinator, I think Lowpander should be favouring this. I think they know that they won't have as many charges by the time that Raptor gets the crits, but they're moving the sentry forward to keep pressure on them from Big Door, and they're walking in. Grench Bob goes down. That's not a good time to die, and there's 2 trades for either team, and it's a 4v4 fight, but Arctic Foxes have backed out, and it's just butt nose in. Forces 1 more bubble, but really, what does that matter? So, a really nice mid-take from Lowpander. They just played their advantage as well, used the Vaccinator against the crits. And they managed to get a kill on Raptor as well in that, so they should be moving into second here and taking it for free. I wonder, Raptor spawned just about now, and he's on, let me see if I can find his medigun.
He's just sort of searching about. I think he is back up on that Uber charge, so I think they're going to be sort of, it does look pretty even. I mean, Mookie is absolutely relentless with the sentry. It's somehow gone from last to their second at this point. Just gonna stop any sort of. I mean, Gully Wash last, not very fun to push into, and even less fun to push out of because of. There's so many places that you can hide on Gully Wash last. And if you've got the threat of a sentry in front of you, you're maybe not thinking about potential spies, potential scout back caps. So it's just going to make it 10 times harder for them, and they're really. I think this sentry from the Mookie is on the point, so it's just no way that they're going to be able to get in there. It does look like Kisakawa's crits Hildreth into this last push. Raptor has popped off that crits, but Mookie, Granger Bob is in that secret area trying to get some captain off, but Shocky deals with him as you would expect, just completely shuts him down. But now it's up to Arctic Foxes to try and take this sentry down.
And again, we saw more of the really well played Uber aggression against the crits, just knowing that they're invulnerable and they're not going to be taking crits damage. And Feeling goes in with his shotgun with Raptor, and they just clean up everyone in Attic. And Kusakala does get the forward spawn, so a bit of a not too big of an advantage for Raptor, but they should be able to take mid with the heals. Quite a close hold, and they've decided Vaccinator. So Lowpander should be able to defend this at the choke if they're playing their spam correctly, but Ubers goes down and they trade for DD5F, so I don't know, at this point it's the fight's drawn out long enough. I think I'd be happy to just reset with the advantage and wait for that, so it looks like that's what Arctic Foxes are going to do, especially with a Feeling on shotgun. I think it's something that's kind of lost its way in modern TF2, but it used to be very much a staple of Ubercharge advantages was you have a shotgun pocket, and he takes in the solo Ubercharge, so they don't need to flash at all because he's got multiple damage types and sources, and he can just isolate people and make their enemy medic flash as many times as he can. But when that comes into play against Vaccinator, I think he's going to have a couple more players, as Mookie's coming in with a bubble for the Force, and Raptor's just holding on the rock, so Mookie couldn't really get any damage onto him, and with one player advantage and Uber versus Vax, I'd be curious to see how Arctic Foxes decide to push this. It looks like they're just getting DD in from drop down, but he's not going to be able to force a Vaccinator medic, so I'm not sure why they've tried that. I think
he does look like DD doesn't quite get a whole lot done with that play. I mean, I think maybe if the whole team went down, dropped down, took their side and sort of use that overcharged threat to just kind of scare the side of Lowpander out, maybe could have worked, but it does look like they're shaping on this big door side. Kisakala, Hildreth and Ubers all sort of taking that side. They're looking like they're going in here. Mookie is up on the spy, he's uncloaking onto Raptor, and I think he's going to get the drop. He does get the drop onto Raptor, and that has just completely destroyed that hold from the side of Arctic Foxes. They're going to have to get some damage off right now, or else the heals on the side of Lowpander are just going to completely rain strong, and it kind of looks like that's happening. The players on the side of Arctic Foxes are so weak, and if Lowpander play this right, this could be a round. They're going to have to take this in pretty fast if they want to make it effective. Raptor is up on the Vaccinator, so it's going to be a Vax v Vax push. But yeah, we do see Granger Bob taking that blast resistance through main. He's decided to back off. They're clearly not feeling it right now, but I think they should definitely try and convert this as quick as possible if they were wanting to do anything. But the Pyro up on the side of Arctic Foxes, maybe they're going to have some second thoughts now.
I think they maybe had the decision. It's like, we both have Vaccinator, we've only got maybe one or two more charges than them. It's a bit risky going into last when we have a spy. So I think they're probably just going to try and get their spy in, and it looks like that's what they're going to do. Maybe if they can get a pick on, not necessarily even the medic, but if they can get some of the damage types. He does get a pick on DD5F, and I think Mookie's going to die for it now. Yeah, he does. So they've got the pick on the sniper, but I don't know that they're going to be able to do anything with it. I don't think I've seen Vaccinator versus Vaccinator before in Prem. And Feeling comes into lobby with an aggressive bubble, trying to force some bubbles out of Kisakawa, and it's just each team trading a little bit, and another reset to a stalemate on last.
Yeah.
I'd be in favor of, like, I don't know, going for a kind of a balls deep play and just trading as many bubbles and taking a fight and then switching off to Uber, because I think you can play Uber against Vaccinator a lot safer. If you get in, force the bubbles and kind of push the flank who don't have buffs, I think the heals wins you it, but Vaccinator versus Vaccinator, it should be interesting to see which team's more coordinated and makes more use of this weapon.
We do see Mookie actually trying to edge that back cap out, and the side of Lowpander have used that sort of distraction to get in here. and all the players of Arctic Foxes are clumped up on the point, so maybe if they had some coordinated aggression just at the end there, but everyone has just been completely taken down. I think all the players of Lowpander decided to get on that point at the exact same time. They all took the same damage, and Arctic Foxes, this is the best opportunity they could get to push out here. There's a trap above main, and Adam does not look like he wants to go out and get it, but Shocky, being the good scout that he is, clears that trap, and they're going to be taking the second point. Honestly, I think they should have maybe waited the side of Lowpander, because they did have the banner on the side of Ubers, so surely after all that spam he must have been pretty close to getting it, and then he just didn't use it at all, so it was a bit of a wasted opportunity there, I think, sort of taking that long. But Arctic Foxes coming in this big door side, they're getting absolutely stuffed in this choke, and they're just going to have to get back both the scouts down, feeling trying to get some picks, and he does take down Mr. Epic and Ubers, and they're going to be trying to get in here, taking over this side, feeling in a 1v1 with Kisakala there, and that is Medic on the side of Lowpander down. Hildreth looks like he's trying to make some sort of last-ditch effort onto Raptor. He's alive for so long, but Raptor picking up the pack, and he should have been dead so long ago, Hildreth. I don't understand how he's still alive. And Raptor gets a saw off, and he does get that Uber, so he's alive, and that's just crazy. I don't know how... I don't know how Raptor stayed alive that long, and I don't know how Hildreth stayed alive that long, but just crazy play.
That was a bizarre fight to watch. Like, Mr. Epic and Ubers did really well at the start of the mid-hold to get 2 picks, but they were both really weak, and Feeling saw that and it was communicated to him, so he just kills them both with 1 rocket, and they follow up and get the frags, but then we saw the counter-aggression from, I think it was Hildreth and Mookie, onto Raptor, and they get enough damage, but Raptor gets the saw and has to pop the Uber, so it is a slight advantage to Kisakala now, but I think Arctic Foxes are content with the fact that they took mid and second for that. So again, we're resetting from last. It's still 0-0 with 18 minutes left on the server, and I think Arctic Foxes are going to try and make a push with this Uber. They're moving forward in river just as they get the charge, and they pop round, DD5F going in, just playing the point, and they need to deal with the sentry. The counter crits comes out from Lowpander, and they're not really getting any frags with it, but I think Uber should have that banner charge pretty soon. A bit of a failed last push for Arctic Foxes, and they do lose players for it, but they got a lot of cap time onto the point, and Hildreth goes down as well to Shocky, along with Uber. Shocky doing those miracle plays that he was so famous for at the height of his career, but he does go down. So now it's a 4v3 in favour of Lowpander, so they should be able to hold this last. But that was another bizarre fight to watch, zeFrosty.
Yeah, that's definitely the sort of word of the word of this match is bizarre. I think just everything just seems to be going absolutely mental. I mean, you think something's going to be a sure thing, and then they just prove you completely wrong. I mean, we do see Raptor sort of building in this choke side with Buttnose. They're going to get out, but I think Lowpander trying to get onto that point, but feeling just 1v1ing them, trying to MGE all the enemy team, staves off that push, and Raptor and Buttnose do take down Grangeabov there. Ubers goes down as well, but the crits just came up from Kisakalo. I mean, what? He doesn't get anything with it, but they've just laid a trap in lobby. I have no idea what they've done. They've used that crit somehow, and I just can't see any of the stickies, but I'm sure they had some sort of thought behind that, but I did not understand that play at all.
They tried to use the crits aggressively, but they couldn't get anything with it. Shocky just walking into Lowpander and destroying them with the crits that they came out, and now with the Ubercharge advantage that Raptor was able to hold on to, they've just been pushing into last. They pushed everyone behind the point, and now they're just focus firing, but Ubers get some counter picks with the vaccinator bubble, and Raptor, it goes down to just a messy DM fight, and the melee does win the first round for Arctic Foxes.
Yeah, that was absolutely insane. I have no idea what the hell was happening there. Just play after play, they're just going for some nutty shots, and Ubers looked like he nearly clutched it at the end there, but the Vaccinator doesn't have melee resistance, and Raptor and Adam sort of taking advantage of that, just clubbing them down. But going on to this mid, we are going to see them rolling out left, while Arctic Foxes are trying to take the side of Lowpander. This could be very bad for them. Hildreth going down to very low amounts of health. Ubers gets a nice jump onto Adam, he takes him down, and Raptor is just not delivering very many heals to his team, and if the side of Lowpander play this right, they could just completely destroy them. Buttnose is on the back foot here. Granger Bob having to get some assistance from Hildreth to take him down, and there's now just like a Scout MG ulti-duo battle in the choke here. Kisakawa taking a lot of damage, but Granger Bob and Shocky, it's like two plastic bags punching at each other, and eventually the Uber and crits come out, and Uber again beats the crits, and they have completely just, by taking so long in that fight, the Arctic Foxes won it, but that was just crazy. Ulti-duo Scout, this is why it doesn't happen.
Yeah, it was interesting. It looked like an even fight, and then I forgot about the fact that Kisakawa on the crits had his charge before Raptor did. And the crits comes out, but they aren't able to get anything with it, and Raptor gets a saw on Granger Bob, so he's able to get the Uber, and then they just win it from there. So I think now going on to is this double spy from? Oh, okay, they were just checking, I guess. But Lowpander setting up for the last hold, and they are on Vaccinator. But Raptor's still on the Medigun, so it's like I was saying earlier. I'd like to see them push in, force some of those bubbles out, and then repush the flank with the heals and the buff advantage. So they're moving towards main. DD5F's just peeking, seeing what they can call. They know that they have a sniper by the left shutter, so I don't think they're going to be too aggressive until they've sorted out their plan. So Arctifox is just setting up in lobby now with their cookie cutter lineup, and then we've got Mookie on heavy and Mr. Epic on sniper with the Vaccinator. So the Shocky starts to come in shutter for, I guess it was a sack play, and he just does die to Mr. Epic instantly. So now Arctifoxes are holding outside the lobby. I think Shocky's probably going to come out sniper, but I wouldn't be surprised if he comes up spy as well. Granger Bob's just peeking up in the attic, trying to see if there's any information for his team to call, but I don't think they're able to get a counter sack.
All the players of Arctic Fox are just holding a big door. So I think Shocky, I'm not quite sure what he's doing. He's just AFK in spawn at the moment. I mean, right, is it a pause? Okay, so we've got a bit of a play on our hands here. You know, maybe he's going to come up on spy. Maybe he's going to swap, check off Ubers and stuff like that, and see what they've got. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting play. Nonetheless, we're going to definitely have the eyes on Shocky to see what kind of plays. Maybe in 90 seconds in the future he's just backstabbed and dropped everyone, and they've gone for a tactical pause. You never know. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what he brings out the bag here.
And another thing to make note of, I think Ubers is now on the is that the battalion's backup? So that might come into it as well, because both teams are just sitting with their Vaccinator and Uber charges. So if he can get good damage in the trade, then I think if Lowpander don't lose any players, or lose enough players in the upcoming last push, then I think that that banner charge will win them the fight. And we do have an unpause now, so everyone's ice skating around as it tends to happen with pauses in TF2. And it looks like Arctifoxes are just moving forward, and it looks like Shocky's staying on spy. He's just jumping up and down in the spawn, so I'm not really sure what play they're going for here.
Yeah, we do see... Oh, he's coming up on heavy, actually, so this is an even more interesting play. We've sort of seen the likes of Epsilon Mike bringing out this strategy, the way they would have the sort of heavy push onto that last. Like, they would go in with Uber and have the heavy come in and sort of clean up house afterwards. But if Mookie is on the spy, they might potentially know that he's on heavy already, and might sort of not make this play work out quite as well. But I can't quite see where Mookie is right now. Oh no, that's just my HUD being completely broken. He is on Pyro, just sort of going around spy checking, making sure he's a good Highlander main there. But yeah, we'll be definitely on this Shocky cam to see what he can bring out the bag with this heavy.
He has been creeping into lobby, like hiding behind corners. I think he really doesn't want to be seen. They are going for the surprise factor here. And now he's spun up and he's peeking main, so they will know that he's on heavy. Mr. Epic with a chance to hit him from main. He's got a fully charged shot, but he doesn't get it off in time. I think this heavy might be quite good for the repush after they take the exchange. DD5F goes in for a spam, or for a force rather, and he gets a pick onto the sniper, and then trades for it. So the spy on, is it Mookie? I think he switched now. But yeah, I was looking for a spy play there. I think there was some problem with Uber's disconnecting, but he's back on the server. I think that's what the pause was earlier. But yeah, I think Arctic Foxes are just posturing up to execute this very specific last hold. I think they're happy to just let time tick away and hold lobby here, because they do have one round up on Lowpander, and it can go back and forth pretty quickly. After his sack there though, DD5F comes up on Pyro. So they're actually going for the play under the point where they get cap time, and there's a heavy there to meet them, so we've got a pyro heavy and medic against a medic and heavy under in water, and Mookie gets a pick on DD5F and Grenchbob gets the pick on feeling, so this is going in favor of Arctic Foxes so far, and they get another pick onto Grenchbob, and Mr. Epic's gonna die, and he gets the trade in the 1v1. That was really close. Both players putting out almost enough damage to kill each other, but Mr. Epic comes up on top, and then Arctic Foxes have to back out of this. It's pretty hectic at the moment.
Yeah, it's definitely a crazy play coming out from Shocky there. He's taking quite a lot of those heals. I think maybe if they didn't quite drop their pyro, they could have made that work. But yeah, unfortunately there for the side of Arctic Fox, he's not quite using that gimmicky play against them to sort of bring that out. But yeah, it looks like they're going to be... The side of Lowpander did take that point, but they've just given up pretty much all their positioning, and it looks like Arctic Foxes are just going to shove them back out again. Mookie is up top on heavy, trying to sort of get those crucial picks, and as we do see the Uber's battalion's backup coming out, he just completely destroys the two players on the point there, getting some follow up from his scouts, and Arctic Foxes are going to have to tuck tail and probably going to have to give up this midpoint.
Thinking about it now, I'm not sure why I did predict such a high scoring gully wash, because it's like I was saying that the last pushes and last holds are both going to be quite difficult. I mean, it's only one round in with 10 minutes left, and wow, Kisakala drops to Shocky getting in behind. This is just more and more bizarre, as we were saying, to watch, as Feeling and Raptor come in from Big Door trying to contest the Uber, or trying to contest second being capped, but they get a couple picks. And Mr. Epic's gone behind after capping that second, so I think he might have a 1v1 in his hands in a second. He's just playing it choke, and I don't think... Yeah, he's coming into point now, just dying, because he knows he can't really do anything while he's behind. And it's pretty much even Ubers with one pick in the favour of Arctic Foxes. Feeling is on that shotgun, and I'd expect Kisaka to be on Vaccinator. Yes, he is. So again, we should see this Uber versus Vax coming into play, and pockets trading in lobby. So I want to see Arctic Foxes play the point here and really force Lowpander's hand, but I think they're happy again to just let the time tick away while they've got one round advantage, and this might just be a really slow game from here on. Mookie with the spy, he walks around into River and he surfs some damage in, and I don't think he got spotted, so... Oh, sorry, it was Grenchbob actually. And he uncloaks right next to Feeling and Adam, but we do have a pause, so I'm not...
We do see another pause coming into this game. We do see actually Shocky is very close to that point. I don't think he's been spotted. I mean, Mookie did sort of walk past him, and Mookie is shaped up to get maybe potentially 3 backstabs and drop Raptor here, but Shocky is also in a position to get that back cap where Mookie's going to have to waddle his way down onto the point, but I think he's going to have to... It's really going to come down to what happens with this... oh no, it's not Mookie, it's Grenchbob. Grenchbob, the spy play. I mean, he is, I think, a Prem winning spy. No idea, honestly, but I know he is no stranger to the spy class, so he could potentially get a demo, a soldier, and a medic pick. He could go for the full Starkey play at Rewind, but we do see him only getting DD before getting completely taken down. But Shocky on the back cap gets so much time. Everyone is dropped to the point, and if the side of Arctic Foxes are quick enough, everyone is just on that point and out of position. But we do see another pause coming in here to just leave us in suspense, you know. There's 10 seconds of action, and then we have some time to sort of breathe and really take it in.
Well, it's another 4v4 fight, it looks like. I mean, the HUD's a bit broken because of the pauses, but from what I can see, there's 4 players up on each team, and with the amount of cap time, I think Arctic Foxes might be looking to make an aggressive play here, but it will be risky with... I don't think either team has Uber yet, or charges yet. I mean, Kisakala will have some Vax charges, but I don't think Raptor has his Uber, and they're pushing into a heavy, so... I don't know, I think it's probably the smarter play to just reset and have another stalemate, but... they might go for this aggressive play. They've been quite good so far with this match, with not taking too high risk situations and kind of playing it by ear, going for safe plays and slowly winning it out. But the thing is, when you're playing against a team like Lowpander that have so many like gimmicks and a very odd way of playing, it's not going to always go as you expect it to go. So it might be worth pushing the advantages that they have. And Feeling is on Pyro still, so I think what they were trying the first time, I think they were going to go under the point with the heavy and pyro, and they were going to try and blast people off and just get cap time, but Kisakala and I think it was Mookie on the heavy, they rotated into river and met them, so it really stunted that push. But I don't know if they're going to try the same thing again. Shocky and Didi are both dead, so we might see them coming up on off classes. And we do get the unpause in, so it looks like they are going under and they're committing to this aggressive play. Mookie's there to meet them in their stickies. Adam with some stickies gets a good kill onto Mookie, and he's getting another onto Mr. Epic. He gets so much damage and gets 4 frags, and Arctic Focus win the round off the back of a really, really well played last push, especially from Adam. They're putting out so much damage and denying the point from the Lowpander player. So that was a clean execution if I've ever seen one. I doubted it, but they made it work.
Yeah, that was really good from the side of Arctic Foxes, just to really see that everyone was kind of out of position after dropping onto the point, and they just capitalised on it perfectly. I mean, those vaccinator bubbles can't win you everything, but we are going on to this third mid here. We do see DD already up that drop down, keeping so much spam onto the combo, just completely denying them walking up Uber up the elbow. But Nuze getting a massive amount of damage onto Mr. Epic and taking down Kisakala. Great play from there. Maybe Lowpander wishing they hadn't let the default Prem Mark play today after making some really good plays actually. Butnose has definitely been pulling his weight, and we do see the timeout of Ubers yet again, so maybe that was a factor in that mid. He maybe wasn't able to get as much effectiveness there, and we do see the quick unpause there. But yeah, Hildreth's got a forward sticky trap trying to stave off that aggression, but as we've seen in the past, Kisakala is up on that vaccinator, and I'm honestly not too sure if it's going to be very good for them now, because they've tried it so many times and it's not really winning them the game. It might be stopping Arctic Foxes from getting any sort of aggression and getting onto that last point, but they're not really getting out and pushing and winning the points that you would expect them to be wanting to do while they're 2 minutes down and only 6 minutes left. So they've got to really try something different, I think.
And again, last time they were happy to, just commit to the defense and make sure the Arctic Foxes don't get the round, but in the end, they ended up winning it and securing that round, and that's why I put a massive sticky trap. Oh my god. Hildreth picking up Adam, feeling, and Raptor, the whole combo from Arctic Foxes. So that was, I'm not sure where that trap was, I think it was in River, but that was a really great read, and now they're just cleaning up the frags in lobby and they're pushing out with Butnose on the sniper behind the point. He's walking around. I don't think they know he's there, and he almost gets the pick onto Kisakala, gets Mr. Epic instead, but that was a weird play if I've ever seen one, and Butnose the Merc, the last person I'd expect to be making it. But Lowpander coming in with their vaccinator bubbles, taking the point. A lot of damage being put onto Feeling, and he does Crater trying to escape. So they are going to be taking the second. I guess that trap just really secured them the last defense and enabled them to push. And with how little time there is left, only 6 minutes, I think that was a really crucial play and well timed for Hildreth to make that. And they're about to get the kill on Raptor as well. There's nothing you can do about it. The Lowpander team are just rolling the frags and isolating picks one at a time while they take their position, and I think Raptor and Adam are both going to be dead by the time they're pushing last, so this is looking to be another round. Mookie coming in with the Flog Pyro and getting 2 picks onto Didi and Shocky, the flank going down for Arctic Foxes, and there's no hope for them against this last push. So that was a really fast coast-to-coast push from Lowpander. Really impressive stuff.
That is exactly what they need right now, is those fast rounds. They need to really sort of get the tempo up and get those rounds as fast as they can, because if they want to get to playoffs, they need to get at least these 3 points. They might not have been able to make it on the Viaduct, but this is what they needed. If they want to make anything better on this, if they want to get the full 3 points, they're going to have to go a lot faster. We do see Didi actually going up that drop down play again. He's getting so denied and just gets 2 stickies right in his face, and the cleanup from Mr. Epic just completely stopping them. But we see Arctic Foxes just taking control of the point there. Everyone was distracted on the side of Lowpander that they just weren't able to do anything, and now they're just feeding 1v1. Ubers and Hildreth are going down. Kisakala going to have to get out there with only 50% Uber, and Mr. Epic. And he's actually even swapped his Uber charge off and probably going to be on that vaccinator again. They're just going to build up as many bubbles as they can before this Arctic Fox push comes in.
Yeah, that was another bizarre mid. I think Shoki had quite a nice 1v3 towards the tail end of that, so just to secure the mid. And we do have a full charge for Raptor going into, again, what's presumably Kisakala, who is indeed, yes, on Vaccinator. I think he might have 4 charges by the time they're set to push. With only 1 round advantage, I think they should be thinking about how their last few pushes went. And well, Kisakawa and Uber's looking to pop some vaccinate bubbles and get aggressive onto the Arctic Foxes players that are in Attic, but they're playing the position right and just spamming away, just ensuring that they're not able to do anything. So good positional play from Arctic Foxes, and they're just defending their territory on second, not allowing any hint of aggression to get followed up on from Lowpander. But they're kind of committing to it. I don't know about this with the less heal output that the vaccinator has. I don't think it's that smart of a play to be drawing out a fight this long, and they're just taking so much more damage than the Arctic Foxes players, and Mookie does go down to a sticky trap, so I think Arctic Foxes are going to take this Uber in, and they might be aggressive. Ubers did build up his battalion's backup, I think it was, but there's just everyone's dying for Lowpander, and they're not able to get any frags with it, so with a 6v3 fight on last, and not really any classes that can hold the point that well, Shocky's running rings around them, gets the pick onto Granger Bob, and we should see some follow-up from Arctic Foxes now. Adam's walking in through main, and everyone else is coming in from river. They're isolating Hildreth, Mr. Epic, Mookie, and Kisakawa, and now they secure the third round, so 3-1 to Arctic Foxes with 2 minutes and 50 seconds left, so we might see, if we're lucky, another couple of rounds here.
Yeah, they're going to have to really step it up now. I mean, I was saying it before that they need to sort of make the pace a wee bit higher, but if they want to make anything work here, they're going to have to change up this mid somehow. They can't let DD just do his super jump into drop down and completely distract half the team. They've really got to stop anything from doing that. And it looks like Mookie was expecting it, and he has got DD5F down before he even gets effective. Shocky does pick up Mr. Epic on the flank, however. And Butno's Spy maybe looking to get some sort of pick onto Kisakala, but it just doesn't even matter. I mean, the soldier aggression and the scout aggression from the set of Arctic Foxes just walking across the point after that and getting so many picks. And without Kisakala being alive, I don't think they are going to be able to roll this nearly as effectively. We do see Butno's, he's going to take down Granger Bob, just completely stopping that push from working. Great play from him there. Ubers and Hildreth do come back and clean it up, but that has definitely stopped anything coming out from the Lowpander team there, and it looks like this could be it if Arctic Foxes are going to be able to hold this off.
Butno's even taunts after getting that pick, taking a page out of Mookie's book with the spy to mid. But we do see the vaccinator coming in. They're walking through big door and they're getting another pick onto DV5F. And as Butno's is just a spawner, there's not many players on second, but Arctic Foxes are also running the vaccinator. They're just hoping to slow down this fight and keep their 2-round advantage. So a bit of a lag on the server, but Raptor and Adam both going down to Ubers and Granger Bob, and Feeling getting a nice trade there. So it looks like Lowpander are going to be taking this point, and they want to win this. They're pushing forward with just Hildreth, Ubers, and Kisakawa into last, while Mookie caps, and they're feeling so weak, and they could get another frag onto Butnose. But the sentry is there, and they're slowly dealing with it, and they get the spam onto it now, but the respawns come in for Arctic Foxes, and it doesn't look like they're going to be able to get the round. That being said, they're going to try anyway, so they come in, and they're just feeding everyone to the players of Arctic Foxes. It doesn't look like there's even going to be a consolation frag for Lowpander, and that is GG. The GGs are called.
Yep, that is
yeah,
the game
6
over.
Points for Arctic Foxes then.
Yeah, that was crazy at the end there. I mean, it was kind of like you saw Kisakala come off on that vaccine. He's like, "Oh yeah, look at my shiny card. I'm gonna trump you with this." And then Raptor just comes down, drops down from the heavens with his vaccinator onto Feeling. Is like, "Well, if you want to run it, I'll run it too." And he's just completely stopped anything happening there. The off classes on the side of Arctic Foxes in the last few seconds, stopping any sort of push from them coming out and being successful. But 8 seconds left, that is it over.
That's it.
6
With the
points
end of that,
going to Arctic Foxes.
With the end of that, Shocky does type in chat, "Is there a bakery round? Because I smell a roll." a nice little bit of what I'll call shit talk. But 3-1 for Arctic Foxes. I'm quite happy. It was close enough to my prediction. I said 4-2, but 3-1's good enough, and 3-1 on both maps then. So it was a bit closer than the scorelines would have suggested. I think Arctic Foxes were quite dominant on Viaduct, but I think there was a lot of good showings, especially with the last defenses and that one coast-to-coast push from Lowpander. Speaking of Lowpander, we do have Hildreth joining us in Mumble.
You alright, mate?
How you doing? I'm good.
I'm okay.
Will anyone else be joining us, or is it just yourself?
No, I think the team has decided to go and reflect on the game.
Have a good cry. How do you feel that went for you guys? I mean, it was pretty close, all things considered. I mean, 3-1 on that. It was like, well, it was 0-0 for like a good 15 minutes of the game. So maybe the Arctic Foxes team kind of just flipped a switch and kind of maybe figured you out or something. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
It wasn't our best day today. We weren't playing our best, so we were kind of distracted a lot by pauses and just in general. Towards the end of the game, they started outplaying us a lot in certain areas. So you just got to give them credit. Like, I know we can play better, but unfortunately not today.
Yeah, it must have been. It was quite difficult actually for you guys. I guess Ubers looked like the one that was kind of sort of getting DC'd quite a lot. So maybe that was having your main soldier while Mookie's off doing all those off-classing shenanigans. Maybe being a soldier down in one of the mids there. I think you just kind of had to completely give up because he just wasn't able to participate in it, which was kind of unfortunate. But yeah, I can imagine that was kind of not very good for you guys.
I think in general we struggled on mids. I don't think we won very many in the game. And it's usually if we can win mids and take control of and not be chasing the map, it's quite good for us. But when we have to chase, it can be, well, some of our strats don't suit that, especially on a map like Gully Wash. But we were also, I just think we just underperformed and they outplayed us in certain areas.
Yeah, also that when you were bringing out the vaccinator, I mean that's generally one of the things that you sort of pride yourself on, I guess you could say, is just sort of being able to utilize all the unlocks to the sort of best of their effect. And it seems like Raptor was sort of keeping up with you guys. He was definitely, I think he's been hanging around the sort of what do you call it, Highlander scene quite a bit as well. So maybe he's sort of more familiar with these as well. But yeah, it was looking like there was a lot of situations where we were seeing vaccinator v vaccinator last pushes, which is sort of a new thing. We don't generally see that too often. So maybe that was one of the things that threw you off. You were going against people that maybe don't quite tilt as much to your strategies as you would have might thought.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. I have to give them credit because they thought of like new ways of pushing last. Stuff that we hadn't seen before, like a lot of people in water. I mean, that's quite a common Highlander strategy, is send the pyro in water and things like that. So we're kind of set up for these sort of things, but I know they changed a few things up, but just in general, we couldn't get our crits to work today, and it just wasn't our day. That's all I can say about it. Really, just was not our day. Oh well, we'll just have to go and beat 7 next week. Why are you laughing?
No reason whatsoever. Yeah, no, I sort of noticed that maybe the crits were sort of more shifted towards you the day. I mean, normally we see Ubers taking a lot of those crits, trying to sort of emulate that Shadowburn kind of style of just taking all the Uber charges and just being that flashy player and hitting every single rocket. But it kind of seemed like you were sort of taking the reins today and trying to sort of make that sort of work. And do you maybe think this sort of mild switch in playstyles maybe had an effect on your team? Maybe they were not quite playing around you like you maybe would have hoped?
I won't blame my team. I didn't play very well myself, so I can't really criticize anybody on my team. We just didn't happen today, you know?
Yeah, I noticed on Via, initially the crits were doing alright, but I think Arctic Foxes came up with quite a good response where they took Ubers aggressively into your team and just kind of really stuffed the crits, and I think from then on the crits really wasn't working, so I think a lot of the time you were forced to play with Vax. And then I've never seen a game like this before in any high level 6s where there's like a full use of all 3 mediguns from both teams with the crits, medigun, and vaccinator. So it was a bizarre one to watch and a bizarre one to analyze, but I think
this is the future news.
Yeah.
Are you ready for it? I know it'd be. I probably guess the vaccinator will be banned. It's not the most. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but kind of like that's sort of what the game was like today. I think that like better teams don't have to resort to that to beat us. But they fought very well. They fought out their plays very, very well, and we kind of expected a lot of stuff that they were doing as well. Like I expected them to play Vax.
Yeah, coming into this this match against Arctic Foxes, I'm not sure how much you've played them so far this season, but what did you think they were going to be doing to counter? I mean, you say you were expecting Vax. Were you expecting them to play how they did today?
Yeah, generally expected a lot of Vax. You know, forward holds. Kind of knew what they were going to do. Kind of, we just weren't good enough today. No, that's all I could say.
I saw. I mean, we had a lot of pauses, and was it always Ubers that was just timing out?
There was this good bit when I think it was the second pause where you'll probably see it all in the chat afterwards. Uber's timed out, and we'd pause for like 5 minutes, and then Mookie says, "I'm going to do pause and pause for you guys." So he unpauses, and as he unpauses, he crashes. So the game just goes on for about 10 seconds, and then we pause again, and they start crying about it in chat. Why did you not unpause again? It didn't really matter at the end of the day. It was one of those games, you know.
So the question I want to ask now is, where does this leave you guys in terms of playoffs? Because Arctic Fox is taking 6 points today, but on the other hand, Champ GG and Lemmings were playing on TFTV2, and I think they got 1 map each. Is what I'm hearing, but I'm not sure how that plays out for the table. I'll have a look at it now. But what do you think your chances are going as the season progresses of getting into playoffs?
Well, Arctic Foxes will be above us. We'll be in 5th. It goes back to the first week on Snakewater where we kind of threw against Champ GG, where we threw that one away. If we'd got that map, which we were well in control of, and we should have got, then we'd be in a good position. But you know, we got to play the top 2 now, so it's asking a lot for us to get even a map off them lot. So I don't think we can get playoffs. But you know, we'll give it a go. The important thing is we have many frags and memes. The important thing is memes are created. We don't care about anything else.
That's great. Well, you're doing a good job so far. I think there's plenty of memes in Twitch chat when your games are going on.
But yeah, I think that's all I have to ask you guys. Nuze, do you have any closing questions that you'd like to go for?
No, I think we should just take it to shoutouts.
Alright, go for it. Hildreth, do you want to start us off? Who do you want to call out for this game?
Call out?
Yeah.
Oh. Just shout out to my team for being fun, apart from today. I'm very disappointed in myself, but not my team. Yeah, I guess shout out to CJ and Cloudy. I'm just saying names now. Polk, don't forget Polk. The Failure combo, Joe and Layla. Yeah, that's it. Oh, and GG to Arctic Fox is well played.
Nuze, do you want to do your shoutouts?
Shoutouts to Hildreth and the guys from Lowpander, and Shocky and the guys from Arctic Foxes for giving us an interesting and quite bizarre game to watch today. And shout out to my guys Champ GG and the rest of the TFTV production for casting 2 games today.
Yeah, I guess I'll close it off. Shout out to the teams for today. Really good game to watch. Kind of crazy. Shout out to Amik, obviously, for catching all the great moments on stream. Shout out to Nuze. I mean, I think the Scottish duo cast has gone pretty well so far. So.
I'd say so. I think we need to get some more. Maybe get some other Scottish casters involved.
Yeah, you know, we're gonna take over TFTV. The mutiny is happening. But yeah, apart from that, shout out to my team Ringo. Hopefully they win this week because I won't be here for our official. But yeah, that'll do it for me. I don't know. Do you want to close off the stream, Nuze?
All right. Well, thanks very much for watching. This has been ETF2L Prem Week 5 between Lowpander and Arctic Foxes, with Arctic Foxes taking 2 maps. So hope you've enjoyed it, and you can catch us on teamfortress.tv.com or teamfortress.tv or the YouTube at teamfortress.tv. But yeah, thanks for watching.